Have you ever been in a room full of people but felt completely and utterly alone? Imagine that room is a kingdom, and you are its future. You have everything anyone could ever dream of: silks, jewels, a castle that touches the clouds. But the one thing you don't have is a choice. The one thing you can't find is yourself. This is the story of Princess Elira, a girl who lived in a gilded cage, known to all as the Lonely Princess. But what they didn't know was that inside this princess, a mapmaker was waiting to draw her own world. In the heart of the sprawling kingdom of Ethelgard, where every stone of the castle was polished to a mirror shine, lived Princess Elira. From the moment she was born, her path was laid out for her like a royal carpet. She learned etiquette before she learned to climb trees, diplomacy before she learned to tell jokes, and the names of 100 noble families before she knew the names of the constellations. Her days were a symphony of routine. Mornings were for lessons with stern tutors who spoke of history and lineage. Afternoons were for fittings with royal seamstresses who draped her in fabrics the color of sunsets and dawns. Evenings were for state dinners where she had to smile, nod, and be the perfect, silent symbol of the kingdom's grace. But at night, when the castle slept and the only sounds were the sighing of the wind and the distant call of an owl, Elira was a different person. She would pull a heavy, leather-bound book from beneath her mattress. It wasn't a book of poetry or royal history. It was a star chart. With a piece of charcoal she had smuggled from a palace fireplace, she would trace the paths of the celestial bodies, whispering their names like old friends: Cygnus, Lyra, Andromeda. She longed to see the world not as a collection of allied and enemy kingdoms, but as a vast, beautiful map of mountains, rivers, and forests. A world that existed beyond the castle walls. One crisp autumn morning, her father, King Theron, summoned her to the throne room. He was a good man, but a man bound by duty, his shoulders perpetually stooped by the weight of his crown. King Theron, Elira, my dear, I have wonderful news. I have received a proposal of alliance from the kingdom of Viridia. Prince Alistair will be arriving in a fortnight. He is a fine young man, and this union will secure our eastern borders for generations. Elira's heart felt like a stone dropping into a deep well. Prince Alistair. She had heard of him. Famous for his prize-winning horses and his collection of enchanted swords. He represented everything she was supposed to want, and everything she was not. Elira, father, must I? Is there no other way to secure the border? King Theron, this is the way of kings, Elira. It is your duty. It is the path that has been chosen for you. Prepare yourself. That night, the stars offered no comfort. The path chosen for her felt like a cage closing its final door. Desperate for a breath of air that didn't taste of duty, Elira wandered the castle's forgotten corridors. In a dusty, unused wing of the royal library, her hand brushed against a section of wall that felt different. Pushing gently, she heard a low groan as a hidden door swung inward, revealing a spiral staircase descending into darkness. Carrying a single candle, she walked down. The air grew cooler, smelling of old paper and dust. The staircase opened into a circular room. It was an old, abandoned observatory. A massive, brass telescope pointed towards a grime-covered glass dome. And all around the walls were shelves filled not with books, but with rolled-up maps. Ancient maps of Ethelgard, maps of the sea, maps of lands she had never even heard of. It was a treasure trove. It was a sanctuary. For the next week, Elira lived a double life. By day, she endured the preparations for Prince Alistair's arrival. But every night, she would sneak away to her secret room, cleaning the telescope, studying the maps, and for the first time, feeling a spark of genuine joy. She discovered that the old royal cartographer had charted secret ways out of the castle, passages used by spies and messengers centuries ago. One night, fueled by a reckless courage, she decided to use one. She dressed in the simple garb of a kitchen hand, a plain brown tunic and trousers, and followed a map that led her through a series of cellars and out of a small, hidden gate in the city wall. The city at night was a revelation. It was loud, chaotic, and gloriously alive. The air smelled of roasting nuts and wood smoke. People laughed loudly in taverns, children chased stray dogs, and a musician played a lively tune on a lute. Here, she wasn't a princess. She was nobody, and it was wonderful. Her wandering led her to a small shop with a sign of a compass and quill hanging outside. The lights were on. Peeking inside, she saw a young man about her age, his brow furrowed in concentration, leaning over a large table, drawing a map with incredible precision. He had ink stains on his fingers and his hair was a mess. Gathering her courage, she knocked. The young man looked up, startled. "Kale, we're closed." "Elira, I saw your work. It's beautiful." He looked at her suspiciously, then at the map she was admiring. "Kale, it's a living. What do you want?" "Elira, I want to learn." Narrator, Kale laughed. A short, sharp sound. "Kale, learn? I don't have time for students. Especially ones who look like they've never seen a day of hard work in their life. Elira, I can pay. And I can work. I know the stars. I can calculate true north from any position. I can chart lunar cycles to predict the tides." Kale paused, raising an eyebrow. That was knowledge not many people had. He looked at her again, seeing the fierce determination in her eyes. "Kale, fine. Be here tomorrow night. Don't be late. And don't get in my way. My name is Kale. Elira, I'm Ella." And so began Elira's true education. By night, she was Ella, Kale's quiet but surprisingly adept apprentice. He was a patient teacher, though he never offered praise easily. He showed her how to make ink from oak galls, how to treat parchment with pumice, and how to use a compass to survey land. In return, she taught him how to use the stars for navigation, making his maps more accurate than any in the kingdom. They would talk for hours while they worked. He spoke of his dream to map the uncharted northern mountains. She spoke, carefully, of feeling trapped and wanting to see the world. "Kale, sounds to me like you're just trying to go your own way." Nothing wrong with that. Everyone's got to end up finding your own path, whether it's drawn on a map or not. Most people are just too scared to take the first step off the road someone else built for them. His words resonated deep within her. He saw her, the real her, without even knowing she was a princess. Meanwhile, back at the castle, Prince Alistair arrived with his entourage. He was handsome, charming, and utterly superficial. He spoke of hunting and tournaments, and when he looked at Elira, he didn't see a person. He saw a political prize. The pressure was suffocating. One evening, the king called Elira to his study. He looked more tired than ever. "King Theron, Elira, your lady-in-waiting tells me you've been distant, unfocused. The wedding is in a week. Your attitude is not just unbecoming, it is dangerous. You are breaking from tradition, from the duty that has kept this family on the throne for 500 years. You must stop this foolishness." "Elira, what if that tradition is a cage, father? What if my duty could be something more than just a marriage?" "King Theron, enough. You are a princess of Ethelgard. You will do as I command. You are confined to your quarters until the wedding day. Guards will be posted at your door." Elira was escorted to her room, the lock clicking shut behind her. It was the very thing she had always feared. The gilded cage was now a real prison. For a moment, she despaired. But then, her eyes fell upon the star chart hidden beneath her bed. She looked out her window at the night sky. She wasn't just Elira anymore. She was Ella, the mapmaker. And a mapmaker always finds a way. She knew the guards' patrol schedules from watching them for weeks. She knew from her star charts that a lunar eclipse was due in 2 nights, which would provide the perfect cover of darkness. And she had, hidden in the binding of a book, the map of the secret passages. On the night of the eclipse, as a creeping shadow began to devour the moon, Elira put her plan into motion. She used a loose stone in her fireplace to knock a message in a coded rhythm they had devised in the passages below, hoping Kale was waiting. Then, she slipped through a hidden panel behind her tapestry, entering the same dusty, secret corridor she had found before. She moved with a purpose she had never felt. This wasn't a frightened princess running away. This was an expert navigating her terrain. She emerged from the hidden city gate into the eerie, moonless twilight. And there, leaning against the wall, was Kale. He had gotten her message. Kale, I was beginning to think you'd stood me up. Got into some trouble. Ella? Elira, you have no idea. Narrator. But instead of running for the safety of the woods, Elira turned and walked back towards the main gates of the castle. Kale. Whoa, where are you going? That's the wrong way. Elira. No, it's not. Running away won't solve anything. I'm not just finding your own path for myself, Kale. I have to make them see it. She walked straight to the throne room, Kale a few steps behind her simple tunic a stark contrast to the royal guards who tried to block her way. She burst into the room where her father was meeting with his panicked generals. General, Your Majesty, the reports are confirmed. The melting snows in the north have washed out the old pass. Our trade route to the west is cut off, and there are border skirmishes over the new land. Our maps are useless. King Theron, Elira, what is the meaning of this? I commanded. Elira, your maps are useless because they are 50 years old. This one is not. The king and his generals stared in astonishment. The map was unlike anything they had ever seen. It showed the new river path, safe high ground routes, and a precise redrawing of the border according to ancient landmarks, information Elira had gleaned from the observatory's oldest texts. Elira, the pass is gone, but there is another way. A higher route, safer and faster. And the border dispute is based on a river that has shifted its course. The original boundary stone is here, on this western ridge. I can guide a party there myself. My value to this kingdom, Father, is not as a bride to be traded. It's in my mind, in my work. This is my duty. This is my path. The throne room was silent. King Theron looked from the incredible map to his daughter. He didn't see a disobedient child anymore. He saw a leader. He saw the fire and intelligence in her eyes, a passion he had never seen before. He finally saw her. The title of the lonely princess no longer fit. He slowly walked over and placed a hand on her shoulder. King Theron, you have your mother's mind and your own strength. The wedding is canceled. Your new title will be the kingdom's royal cartographer and chief advisor. Your work begins at dawn. Narrator. A true, radiant smile broke across Elira's face. She looked over at Kale, who gave her a slow, proud nod. Her cage wasn't broken. It had dissolved. She was finally free, not because she had escaped the castle, but because she had found her place within it on her own terms. She learned that true freedom isn't the absence of responsibility, but the power to choose your own. And her journey, the one she would chart for herself and her kingdom, was just beginning. Elira's story reminds us that sometimes the loneliest feeling in the world is not being seen for who you truly are. But your passions, your skills, the things that make you unique, they aren't distractions from your path. They are your path. If you were inspired by Princess Elira's journey, please let us know by giving this video a like. And to make sure you don't miss our next story for teenagers, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Thank you for watching.